Hey guys, Chung here. So the A7C been announced and this is a hands-off preview. We're going to talk about the camera and talk about the positive, negative, and also why people are negative about it, but actually for which kind of people the camera is actually for. So the great difference between the A7C and the A7 III is mainly that it is much more compact without having the big viewfinder on top, but having a smaller viewfinder compared to the A6000 series. However, also something very new is the flip out screen. So having a proper flip out screen for like filmmakers and also for vloggers, making it much easier to film themselves with, but also in difficult angles you can easily see what you're filming. But the main thing is it doesn't have that much difference compared to like the A7 III, which it is a older camera, but also a A7 III you can buy it for a slightly lesser price. But having that flip out screen is for certain people much more important, especially people who's traveling, who's are doing vlogs, and mainly having it also being slightly more compact. It fits also nicer in certain camera bags, much nicer, or have ability to pack in slightly more things in your bag. But comparing it with the A7 III, I don't really see that extreme big of a difference in specs wise, but mostly it's just the flip out screen and everything. And honestly, if you are into photography, there's no real big difference compared to the A7 III, then only the flash sync being up to 160, while the A7 III has a flash sync up to 250. This can be bypassed if you have a high-speed sync flash, external flash, but if you're having using a more affordable flashes which doesn't have high-speed sync, then it's don't really get you the proper kind of flashes. However, we're now going into a territory I feel like that is people are nagging about the camera while they're not really the target market of the camera. So the target market of this camera are travel consumers and vloggers, and not really high prosumers and professionals that would not really that quickly look at this camera, because professionals will rather look for the A7 III or A7R series or the S series for more professional for specific use, while the A7 or A7C is more for consumers and people who don't really need to have that high professional things, but still wants to have that full frame look, to have like a nicer video or photography look, but they're not going into very professional things. So overall, for me, also like seeing the trend of certain cameras with also a lot of more entry-level full frame mirrorless cameras from Nikon Z5 and Panasonic S5, but also you need to look at the Sigma FP camera. So you might think the Sigma FP is a cinema camera. However, I know that a lot of people who've been buying that camera has been buying it for photography. The reason why they buy it for photography instead of for cinematography is because it's so compact, because it doesn't have a viewfinder, it's just a really small body, and you can just put it into your camera or in your bag as a B camera without using too much space, and it is a full frame camera. And also you have like a nice compact lens that goes with it. But talking about it being compact, the A7C comes also now with a more compact kit lens than before, and with the 28-60. And personally, I'm not really that into kit lens, but there are quite a lot of really small lenses for the A7 or actually Sony E mounts. So talking about it being compact, we have here the Samyang 24 f2.8, and we have here on my A7R2 the 18mm f2.8, which is also pretty small. So you have quite a lot of small lenses, even from Sony themselves. You have like the 28 f2, so you have a lot of really nice compact lenses for traveling lightweight around, but also for vloggers, keeping it really small and also pretty lightweight. So for me, yeah, having a small lightweight camera with me, it is a much more preferred thing, especially when you're traveling around, especially as a YouTuber or a vlogger. Have a small compact camera in your camera bag or in your backpack. It is much nicer than having a too heavy of a camera. So compared to, like, if I would say, like, I have like the Panasonic GH5, which is not a extreme big of a camera, but honestly I feel like it is slightly on the huge side and also heavy side. And often if I go out, I rather pick up my Sony, or even like the Panasonic G7, which is a much more lightweight, smaller camera, and go around film with that instead of the GH5. So honestly, yeah, with the compact sizes, is a very interesting way to work with it. So it is a much more of a camera for consumers than really prosumers. And really, for the compact size, of course, it is a nice extra camera that you can have in your camera bag as a B camera if you have like a certain job you would do. Honestly, it's always better to have a additional camera in your camera bag. If your main camera fails or something breaks, you always have like a secondary camera with you that would able to still do the job, but still like be lighter, be smaller, or be even cheaper to buy, instead of having really expensive two of the same cameras. But overall, yeah, for me, I don't really see like a big issue with the A7C. It is not striving to be like the next high-end full frame, and yeah, for me it doesn't really have to be like always having the next gen. It is coming out as a entry-level full frame camera. And also, like, people talking about, oh, it doesn't have 10-bit, it doesn't have RAW and all those stuff, but a lot of people right now are actually filming with the Sony cameras in HLG, and they already show that with HLG you get a lot of dynamic range, and also you can grade it much easier than like your log, or even with working around with RAW files. So personally, I don't really feel like it is an issue that it doesn't have 10-bit nor have RAW, but it does have that HLG, which is really nice to work with. Overall, the rest it has over the A7 III is the autofocus and also the flip out screen. So it has, like, when you're filming, it still has like a proper eye tracking autofocus, and also like the flip out screen to see yourself with. But yeah, the other thing is, the downside is right now, not really an extreme downside compared to the A7 III, is that they didn't updated the menu compared to like the A7S III, which has a total new menu. However, the A7C might have been like in production or in progress before the A7S III, but maybe there is like a update or firmware update that they can change the menu, because I don't think that is that difficult. But yeah, it might be just that the pre-production still has an older menu and the final production might have a new menu. But overall, yeah, for me, would I buy the A7C? Honestly, I like using Sony cameras and actually filming with Sony cameras. And the A7C does fall into like a nice category within the price, not being too overly expensive. However, the A7S III is also quite a nice camera to use for filming. And honestly, if I'm just getting it for vlogging, then like the A7C would have already been enough. But if I want to use it as a more professional job and also like filming in extreme low lights, then the A7S III would be a better choice. But yeah, it is really dependable on if you're striving for using it on a professional job, or you're just using it for consumer things or for YouTube, or like not really for like a high-end job, the A7C for a lot of people, a lot of consumers, would be a nice camera to actually use, especially with using small lenses and keeping everything much more compact when traveling around. So yeah, that's my opinion about the A7C. So if you are interested in seeing more videos like this, or have any questions you want to discuss about the A7C, please comment below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.